children, especially abused children, traumatized children, just have difficulties in asking for help, and even when they receive help, understanding that how to receive it is even difficult. So my initial reaction, I mean, I stayed in trouble all of the time, unfortunately. However, in hindsight, I didn't realize it then, but in hindsight, it was certainly a safe environment. And I'm now grateful that there was something in place to kind of take me out of the environment that I was in. During the time, it was much more of a home-like setting. Because I went through many group homes in which they were more facility-like. And I think that makes a big difference on the young person's upbringing, right? I don't believe that children should be raised in facilities at all. And I know the challenges in making sure that there are enough houses, right? That's always an issue. However, even if it's in a group setting, that those settings should mimic or at least try to emulate home settings as much as possible. Because when you're living in a facility and it's ran with more prison-like than home-like, then you really internalize that, and then it really decreases your confidence. It decreases your hope, in my opinion, and really it alters your worldview. So I think that's important. But certainly at the time, it was more home-like. And we learned a lot of skills and they taught us a lot of skills that I had never been exposed to. And I think that's from people who are not in the foster care system, or people who've had close to normal, whatever normal is, upbringings. They take for granted some basic life skills that often children who are in environments which is highly dysfunctional, for a lack of a better word, we don't really typically receive just basic life skills. And to provide an example, just something as simple as cooking, learning about hygiene, which is something that's overlooked oftentimes when you're in an environment in which people who are supposed to care for you are not. You learn really bad habits. So sometimes you really need to take a step back and ask yourself, if I was in this young person's shoes and I had experienced everything that they've experienced, and some things you may not know about, because there was a lot of things from my own experience that it took me years to ever talk about. Years, like once I was placed into foster care, there was so much that I had never disclosed because I had blocked it out of my mind. It was things I didn't want to disclose, I didn't want to relive. Keeping that in mind, and keeping in mind that some hurt children are not always going to be the most well-behaved. They're not going to be the most appreciative at the time. They may appear ungrateful for small acts of kindness, but you shouldn't stop those things. And in fact, I think if they're acting out, they need more love, more kindness, not more punishments, or not more just anything that's more punitive. I think that just has basically makes the situation worse. So keeping those things in mind, but not only just thinking about them, but acting to that effect. Because we can say all day that, yes, we take empathy for these youth, but if you don't really display that, then it's meaningless. It's really about community care. So we hear the phrase often that it takes a village, and that's really true. So if there are children and young people who are in need, it really should be a community effort to uplift those young people. And that comes through resources, whether it's financial resources, people power, or simply just doing minor things, giving donations when you can to really make that happen. So it's not enough to simply just keep us in your thoughts and have well wishes. Sometimes we need concrete action, so that and I think it uplifts the community as a whole, not just the individual child.